And I want to welcome you back to CARS, the Congress of Automotive Repair and Service, here in the Moriel Convention in the Big Easy. When you have an opportunity in the next, in either this life or your next life, you've got to come to New Orleans because it is the place, a perfect place. And I don't know anyone that's ever been to New Orleans that didn't have the feeling that I'm going to go back there, and that's exactly the feeling that I get every time I come here. I learn something new. I find another new place to eat, which is unbelievable, and I find another new friend. And speaking of new friends, a not so new friend, but a gentleman that I've known for some time, Ben Johnson, who's the Director of Product Management for Mitchell1. Ben, it's glad to have you in the house again.
Great to have you. Great to be here, Bobby.
You know, give us an overview of Ben Johnson in the last 30 days and what projects at Mitchell1. What did you bring to the CARS convention?
Oh, we're doing a lot of interesting things, Bobby. You know, this industry just continues to evolve, and it's so exciting right now. You know, you look at all the industry stats, and we've got more cars per available service bay than we've ever had. You know, I've been out in the field talking to a lot of shops and techs, and, you know, just a few years ago, you'd go talk to people and they were lamenting, you know, the shops were kind of quiet and trying to figure out how to get business in. I'll tell you, there's a lot of busy shops out there right now. And so we've been really focusing on, you know, the way we view the industry and the way it's heading. The shops are doing well. The cars are at an all-time age that, you know, just under 11 years for the average car now. And the people are hanging on to them longer. So on the other end of that, as the shops are getting more and more busy, it's more difficult for them to maintain the level of service that their customers expect. You know, your refrigerator breaks, it's annoying, but you get used to waiting for that part to show up for 3 or 4 days. Car drivers don't do that. They want the car in and out the same day or at the very latest the day after. And, you know, we've been doing a lot of projects that are aimed at keeping those shops running as efficiently as possible. Some of the things we've been working on, just yesterday we announced a new relationship with Gates Corporation, where we're actually including aftermarket technical service information with our ProDemand product. That's the new online information system, so that technicians can get access to all the information, whether it comes from the OE or from the aftermarket, that can help them become more efficient at resolving problems on cars.
So you actually have enabled the IT, the information, the technology information that's required to service and maintain today's automobiles that, as a rule, the OEMs have. And that I know that ASA has worked vigorously. In fact, the NASTF, which is the National Auto Service Task Force, was created some 11 years ago just to solidify the fact that aftermarket industries and service shops can access that information. And Mitchell1, it sounds to me like that's exactly what your company is providing.
That's what we're all about, and that's what we've always been. Was what Mitchell1 does is we take all that OE information and we package that in a way that's very consistent for the user. So, you know, if you go out to the, you know, technicians have a choice. They can go to the OE websites now and get to some of this data, but to try to navigate and learn how to navigate to a water pump replacement on a Subaru versus a Chevy versus a Toyota, 3 completely different navigations, 3 completely different types of logins. I just did an evaluation yesterday with an OE where it took like 25 clicks and searches to get to where you wanted to get, where with ProDemand, it's like 5 clicks. So, you know, we consolidate that experience to make it, you know, consistent for the user. And what's really changed, though, what we've looked at is, you know, the OE information is very important, but there's also a lot of information in the aftermarket that's born out of industry experience that hasn't been tapped like it should be. And we're starting to include that, and that, you know, the Gates announcement is really our first step in that evolution of bringing not only the OE information, but information that's gleaned out of the aftermarket itself into a contextual, you know, a findable format for that technician to find it.
And Ben, how do you find that information, that aftermarket, and how do you dive down and click down through the reams of information? It seems to me that I know 150,000 pages of technical service bulletins a month delivered to shops overwhelms a technician. Right. Now, I realize we have topics, and I realize that you can put a make, model, year, and a key word. I mean, keywords are very important, but that must take a lot of architecture design on your end.
That is exactly the challenge. That is exactly the challenge. It used to be that a technician really knew all the basics about how the car worked, and places like Mitchell1 were really reference information. So you knew all about carburation, but you might look to us to find out what the specifics were about the Carter Thermoquad versus the Rochester Quadrajet, right?
Right.
Now, like you say,
gosh, you're going back a ways now.
I know, well.
When you say Quadrajet, I hear you there.
So what we've done, we just spent a lot of time and money rebuilding our whole information warehouse. So we've got this new product called ProDemand, launched it about a year ago, and been very successful with it so far, but it does exactly what you're asking for. You type in literally a component name or a diagnostic trouble code or anything you're looking for, and it comes back not only with the information, just the maybe the main search about that, but it'll come up with everything we know about that. So if you put in AC compressor, it might come back with, here's what you need to know about that compressor and how it operates. Here's the R&R procedures for it. Here's the component locations for it. Here's the wiring diagrams associated with it. And it tries to bring all that information to the technician, so then they've got kind of a dashboard to work from.
And that dashboard, of course, is on their laptop, their computer, wireless in the shop in real time.
In real time.
So they're under the hood of the car, and they need to know what this connected, is connected to the body here, and
That's right.
and that's what Mitchell1 provides.
And it's updatable daily. So
Daily.
No longer do you have to wait for either discs or, even sometimes in our older electronic publishing mechanism, there was a lot of processing that went on. Literally, if we get a tip from the aftermarket or from the OE, we can process that and get it onto the site in hours.
I'll ask this question. It's a leading question because I'm here and on behalf of not only Bobby Likis Car Clinic, but the Renewable Fuels Association. Mm-hmm. And ethanol for the OEMs, and you mentioned OEMs, to meet the 54.5 CAFE mandate, MPG in 2025, a lot of new technologies and new engines. And so even more important now than ever is the availability of this new information. Are there fuels sections currently available? And would that might be something that Mitchell1 might want to look into?
I think the direct answer is I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's a fuel section today. I mean, if the OE provides it, it's included. But yes, as that becomes more prevalent, one of the reasons we designed the system the way we did was so that we can very quickly react to industry needs, and as new technologies and new tips and tricks and anything that technician needs to make their job more easy, we can put that in there easily.
Your job easy?
No, but it's a lot of fun.
No. Ben, it's great to have you in the house again, as always. And I know I want to remind all the folks that years ago, in another life, you were given the challenge to create a workshop manual for Harley Davidson.
That's correct.
And I know that you went out and you canvassed, I don't know how many months, the states, and went to shop after shop after shop. And I can imagine a Harley Davidson shop that only worked on carburetors, and then here comes injection.
Oh, yeah.
And here comes Ben Johnson, and you took back to the firm some 240 pages of here's what we need. And Harley Davidson went to the company you were with then and said, okay, we need a manual. And your company said, well, what do you want in the manual? Well, it's your product,
That's right.
And that ended up being, and now the manual that you helped create is in every Harley Davidson shop in the world, and that's universally used as the go-to Bible for Harley Davidson repair. So I would just imagine that same business professionalism and prowess you will bring to Mitchell1, and I want to thank you again for joining me on Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, I appreciate it, Bobby, anytime.
Congress of Automotive Repair and Service, the place to be.
Absolutely.
The Big Easy, the place to be. Let's see, Mr. B's, okay, we can talk about restaurants later. Thank you, Ben.
Hey,
Great to see you
thank
again.
Good to see you.
And stay tuned, coming up, someone else from the aftermarket industry that's going to make your life better by driving the newer automobiles and also keeping your car on the road rather than the roadside. Stay with me.